Hello, homies. This is a time-sensitive emergency episode that we've put together for you with Barbara Roberts regarding the Therapeutic Products Bill, which is currently being rushed through in New Zealand. Submissions close on the 15th of February, so it is absolutely vital that you put your submission in straight away. This is for anyone who is a New Zealand citizen living anywhere around the world. You can go to homeopathy.ac.nz, where there will be some submissions guidelines available from the 27th of January. So please make sure that you get your submission in, and the cutoff date for submissions is the 15th of February. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and a very warm welcome to Homeopathy Hangout. Today, we have multiple return guests, Barbara Roberts, on the show. Welcome back, Barbara.
Thank you for having me.
Now, anybody who wants to know your journey into homeopathy and all the amazing things you've done and the love story with Samuel and Melanie is going to have to scroll back to your past episodes and go and have a listen. Today, we have a very important topic that we are chatting about, which I know nothing about. I'm so grateful for you to come on the show, because I have heard rumors about this Therapeutic Products Bill that they're trying to push through in New Zealand. I don't know anything about it. So I'm grateful for you coming on the show and educating me and our listeners about what it is and what it means.
Thank you. Yeah, it's something that has been sneakily sort of pushed through over Christmas, and so it's kind of crept up on everyone and nobody knows much about it, and so we're just trying to get as much knowledge around it so that people can make a submission and make themselves heard before the 15th of February when submissions close. So that's really the important date. Listen up, read about it, find out about it, and then have something to say before the 15th of Feb on the Parliament website. There's a submissions link. So yeah, it's what they're doing is they are taking the current Medicines Act and the dietary supplement regulations and combining them into one Therapeutic Products Bill, which also will cover every natural health product. So if it has any therapeutic purpose, it is covered by this act. That means medicines and medical devices, pharmaceutical ingredients. But for us, it means vitamins, minerals, homeopathic remedies, flower essences, anything you can think of that has a therapeutic purpose. And it's not explicitly stated in the Act, but it will cover things like our herbs and spices. How they will actually regulate that, we don't know, because they haven't written the regulations yet. But the broad nature of this bill means that your cinnamon and your turmeric and your thyme is all covered. And let's be realistic, celery, that can have a therapeutic, it's a diuretic. That could be covered by this as well. How they will regulate that, we actually don't know, but it is a concern, and it's without having the regulations written, we don't know what the sort of differentiation I have between those things.
I always think I don't understand, but I do, what their issue is with natural medicine. So I understand the strong regulations around pharmaceutical drugs because it is one of the top 3 leading causes of death in the world. So it warrants having strong regulations around it. But nobody has ever died in over 200 years of homeopathic medicine. And, issues with herbs where there's more of the physical action on supplements, yes, that does happen, but it's still not a significant amount. And apparently homeopathy doesn't work. So I don't understand why they don't just leave us alone.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they have, a few years ago, they reclassified a herbal product, Artemisia annua, which is wormwood, and deemed that it had a therapeutic purpose, and therefore it must be a medicine, and effectively, therefore, it was a prescription medicine, and the only way you could get it was from your doctor, who knew nothing about it and so couldn't prescribe it anyway, and basically killed that off. So you cannot buy Artemisia annua in New Zealand anymore. which is just terrible. What this doesn't do is regulate things like that and say this has potential for harm, which is what it's about. So it needs to be prescribed by someone who is qualified in that area, because your average doctor doesn't know anything about herbal products. So it should be naturopaths and medical herbalists who are able to prescribe that sort of thing, who are qualified, have appropriate experience, who could use it. But this doesn't really open the door for that either. So it's going to regulate and just make things harder instead of making things easier and allowing people to use natural products.
And the other thing is the insidiousness of when they try and sneak these things through, just make you think of somebody who has a hidden agenda, because exactly the same has just happened with the FDA in America, where they sneak through that, I can't remember what the exact class, it's not a bill, but there's, they sneak that through over Thanksgiving in the States. So if there wasn't a hidden agenda behind this, then why not have it like nice and clear, loads of time, give it a year. It's been around for millennia. Nothing's going to change, like herbs. I mean, homeopathic's 200 years. It's been around for 200 years. Nothing drastic is going to happen in the next week. Give us 6 months, give us a year. There's time at play. Why do you want to push this through over when people are on holiday and things are really busy? Like, what's the rush?
Yeah, and this is certainly, I'm in a group where we split up the bill to read it because it is huge. Like, I did law and read the Medicines Act and all of those things in university when I was doing my pharmacy degree, and this is so much larger. There are over 400 clauses, so it's
wow.
It's a big mouthful to try and actually read it and digest. So we split it up, and that's what I was doing at Christmas time, was reading the law so that I could understand this and we could come together and talk about the implications for. We're primarily focused on homeopathy, but I have looked at other things as well. And it's, there has to be, you're right, the fact that they're sneaking it in beforehand is really a concern. And specifically relating to that FDA thing, there is a clause in here, 346, where the regulator can take the decisions of any overseas entity and apply them. So that means they could just go, FDA, they've got a document on homeopathy. Boom, anything they say, we're going to adopt. And that's really concerning. And also for people who aren't familiar with New Zealand, we have a really founding document, the Treaty of Waitangi, which was a treaty between the British Crown and the Māori, who were our Indigenous people, and taking any decision from overseas entity will not meet our obligations under the Treaty of Waitangi because they have no understanding of it. And homeopathy does have some, it's not a Māori form of medicine, but there are links with how we see the world, and there are also remedies that are made from native New Zealand plants. And so that's a really important distinction to make. And that's something that I have concerns about as well.
And if I would love to know how long it took them to put that document together. I mean, there's often months or years that goes into putting something like that together with a consultation with dozens of different professionals across different fields. So you would think they would at least afford the public who are not lawyers. Oh, okay, well, they are obviously, but I'm just being people interested in this. You would think they would give them the graciousness of at least that same amount of time that it took them to prepare this bill. What is the process at the moment? So where are things at the moment? Is this just a draft? Is this like where is the process? What's the process at the moment?
So it had its first reading, and it's at select committee. So basically that's why we've got there's time for submissions to go in and for them to hear them and read them, and then it will go for its second reading. So, they have skipped a lot of the or pushed through a lot of the early stuff. Now, I understand there was some indication of it last year. I know Mike Dong from Similaman went along to a meeting which basically said this is going through, like we'll lump it. Their level of understanding about natural health products wasn't great, let alone homeopathy. There's widespread opposition to this. It's not just homeopaths. A lot of the naturopaths, medical herbalists, the natural, and even the companies that make these products, they are against this bill. I haven't read the things from the Pharmaceutical Society and Guild, but I know that a lot of pharmacists are not very happy about this bill either. And there are implications for pharmacy, and it's the access that you'll have to things, the increasing cost of products, as well as whether there's going to be other implications for pharmacy ownership and how that would change. And even if you're not a big conventional medicine user, the way pharmacy is in New Zealand is that 51% of every pharmacy has to be owned by a pharmacist, and they are subject to a whole lot of professional standards, which basically means we're not going to sell you products that aren't good for you because we're here for health, even though it's not a natural health, and sometimes their philosophy differs from ours. There's still a big professional a lot of professional integrity there, and there is nothing overt in this bill about changes in pharmacy ownership, but it's another thing that opens that door, and I don't think that's another thing we want to happen. We certainly don't want big corporations who are more interested in money owning our pharmacy businesses and decreasing our access to preventative healthcare. And let's face it, a lot of natural healthcare does prevent complications.
Exactly.
And we don't want to make that a luxury. That shouldn't be something that only people who are well off can afford to buy their vitamin C and their herbal supplements to keep themselves well.
Well, just today, I also interviewed Gabrielle Traub on the podcast, and I asked her how she was introduced to homeopathy, and she shared that actually her brother, when he was 2 years old, died of an adverse reaction to a medicine. And then her older brother had such a severe reaction as well that he ended up being hospitalized. So her mum was forced to raise them on homeopathy and other natural forms of medicine. And restricting access to this is just in nobody's best interest other than, the powers that be, because we need access to this because some people simply cannot take pharmaceutical medication. And I think it's getting more and more as people's toxic load is getting more and more. Children are born with a toxic load already inherited from the mother, which puts so much strain on your liver and your kidneys. So then trying to process pharmaceutical medication becomes much harder. So we actually need these safer options. If you look at antibiotic resistant bacteria like MRSA, we need other alternatives because pharmaceutical medication is not the be all and end all. On the select committee, is there a homeopath on the select committee that decides when this bill is read?
I wish. No, I think they are just politicians. So there is no
expert in this field.
And that's another concern with the bill itself. And Clause 347, they can have an advisory committee, but they just need to be satisfied as to their knowledge in that area. Well, that's, in my opinion, not good enough. We don't want someone who has some knowledge in this area because, frankly, when I was in pharmacy school, I did a 3-hour lecture on homeopathy. And would that be sufficient knowledge to then advise on homeopathy, not knowing more than 3 hours worth about it? There is just having some knowledge is not enough. It should be qualifications in that area. and experience in New Zealand, so that we're making sure that people understand our treaty obligations, what the New Zealand land is like, what the people are like. And I shouldn't be advising on traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture or osteopathy. I don't know much about them. I've seen practitioners in those areas, but I don't know enough. And I wouldn't be qualified to do that. And we should be making sure that anybody who is making decisions on any modality has qualifications and experience in that area. And it's not just an advisory thing, because we have seen with the COVID debacle that the advisory committees made recommendations on things and then they didn't follow them. So these committees should be able to make decisions that are then binding, not then just be subject to a regulator's whim and bias and overseas agenda. That's not good enough.
No, I tell you what, I would not recommend anybody put me on the advisory board for politics, because I know nothing about politics. I have no interest in it. So do not put me on that advisory board. And I feel it should go the other way around. I do not want a politician advising on an area of my expertise. They do not have the expertise in that area. So is it all doom and gloom? Can we still do something? What do you recommend our listeners do to get involved? And also, is it just Kiwis? Can people from overseas put in submissions? Talk to us about how we can help.
It is just New Zealanders, but if you are a New Zealander living overseas, and therefore you could vote in New Zealand, even if you don't, make a submission. It won't do any harm. There is concern. I don't know how much it will affect, because they haven't written the regulations yet, and so we just don't know what that will have. And that's another part of the problem. Like when you've got a two-part piece of legislation, because you need to have the Act and the regulations, which tell you what all the various rules are. Only having the Act is a problem. And certainly from a homeopathy perspective, there are things in there we are slightly protected in some things. So our first aid remedies, as it stands, are exempt. So if you want to use arnica, aconite, belladonna, apis, all of those things, they will be fine, because they are considered low concentration natural health products, and provided they are of plant origin or animal origin that is not in the rules, or mineral origin, they are fine. So as long as they are more dilute than 1 part per million, 20 parts per million. So if they're 3C or 6X or higher, they're fine. So that's really comforting. For myself as a homeopath, it specifically excludes things of human origin or animals in the rules, which are sheep and cows, and that's probably to protect from things like mad cow disease. But that takes out all our metrodonal remedies. So I love my lacumanum. I love my vernix and my placenta remedies. It also takes out a lot of our nosodes. So serenum, which was made from a vesicle bees. So that's come from human. Metarinum from gonorrhea, syphilinum from syphilis, tuberculinum, which is my all-time favourite remedy at the moment. I've prescribed it this week. I often use tub bov, which is from bovine, from cow origin, so that would be out. Carcinosin, which again sometimes I feel like I dish out like lollies, which is a cancer. From one of them's from a breast cancer, or there's other ones which are made from multiple different types of cancer. And these are all remedies that we use for ongoing problems for people who the first aid stuff is not holding, for the other remedies are not working, or they've got deep inherited problems. And I don't know if I could say any other way. They are essential
They
for
are
chronic
essential.
homeopathic care. So that is a major concern of mine. That yes, my first aid kit will be fine, but my chronic prescribing for people who are unwell for that, and all of my family have had tuberculum at some point, and that's going to be that concerns me.
Yeah, and if there was a really safe and effective long-term chronic health solution in the pharmaceutical medical model, then we could go, oh, okay, we have alternatives, but we don't, because the medical model does not have long-term health solutions for chronic problems other than staying on drugs for the rest of your life, which is just not okay for a lot of people from a financial and health perspective. So natural medicine really is the only option when it comes to truly healing chronic illness. So I don't know. They take away all our, they want to take away all our options, but there's nothing, they don't have a better solution. If they had a better solution, I can understand that, but there's not. So
they should be exempting any homeopathic product that is past Avogadro's number, for example. So that's the theory, is that once you get past a certain point, which I think is 1 times 10 to the power of 23. So
yep, that's right.
It's so dilute, there is no physical
detected molecule. Yeah.
Yeah. And so therefore, that's one of the arguments about why homeopathy is not placebo, a thing. Yeah. It's water, it's completely placebo. So why are we not completely exempt once we pass that level? Even for products of human origin or sheep or cow origin, that should be a standard.
And if you have 200 years of safe, effective, documented use, why are we even having this conversation? It makes me furious, absolutely furious. Why are we talking about this? We've got over 200 years of safe, effective, documented use. Why? It's just so redundant. It's such a waste of taxpayers' money. That's the other thing. Go and spend that money and go pay your teachers and your police and your nurses properly. Go and get proper, go and spend all those millions that they're probably spending on this. Go and spend that on, the children that are living on the streets in New Zealand that do not have proper food, that do not have proper housing. That is what you should be focusing on, not natural medicine that is all this safe, usage. Okay, deep breaths. Okay, so what else can...
It's concerning for conventional medicine as well, because one of the things... Another clause which I found is 71, which says that you cannot inject or give by parenteral infusion a natural health product. So that actually cuts out vitamin C. So all our people who get IV vitamin C for sepsis, for infections, for cancer, that would be gone. But it also cuts out intramuscular vitamin B12 injections and iron infusions, because both of those are considered natural health products. And under Clause 30, they are defined as natural health products.
There's nothing natural about them. It's all synthetic.
Yeah, but it's a standard medical treatment. And it says in the Clause 30 that those vitamins and all minerals or synthetic versions of them are natural health products. So our iron infusions and our vitamin B12 injections, which are a standard medical treatment in the conventional medical system for somebody who has pernicious anemia or anemia that they cannot get sorted with iron tablets, that is a natural health product, and under Clause 71, they cannot do it because you're not allowed to inject it.
Well, then they should take paracetamol off, because that's made from white pine bark where they extract the salicylates. But I know they now synthetically manufacture the salicylic acid, right? I could be completely off here, but is that you're the pharmacist here? Yeah, originally. Aspirin. I always get the two mixed up. So aspirin is originally derived, as are all pharmaceutical drugs pretty much originally derived from, they find an active component in a natural substance, and then they synthesize that. So then they should really take all pharmaceutical drugs off. And even if you think of like the Novavax vaccine, that came from the cells of a moth. So go figure.
Let's get logic in the way of any of this.
Do you think, like, on all seriousness, do you think these politicians get together and they just have like a joint and a couple of beers and they just think, let's just see how ridiculous we can get? I mean, you don't have to answer that question. This is just that would make sense. If they did that, that would actually make sense as to why they're coming up with this stuff.
Yeah, well, they thought, that's a good idea. I've heard that some people want to inject stuff, so we'll just stop them doing that. Actually, no, we have no idea that that's... It's crazy. I think the politicians who are doing this have not thought through the implications themselves, because they... What
did they want to do? What do they think a pregnant woman's going to do who can hardly take any pharmaceutical medication for fear of hurting the infant? And then, like, if all her natural options are taken away from her, what is she supposed to do? What are people supposed to do that, cannot take pharmaceutical medications? What options are you leaving them with? Are you just going to say, oh, no, sorry, can't do anything for you. That's it. No natural, you're not allowed to use natural medicine and we don't have an option for you. So what are you going to do with those people?
Yeah, I just don't understand. I really don't understand what they're doing. And I think there is concern that some of these things could be dangerous, but this is really not the way to do that. It's not going to fix anything. It's going to create a lot more headaches for everyone.
And like you said, how are they going to define that? So I'm not allowed to have celery in my salad anymore because celery has a therapeutic action of acting as a diuretic. But literally any food, any herb, any substance, natural substance can have like a therapeutic effect. So,
well, it's an old Hippocratic thing, isn't it? Let food be your medicine.
Absolutely.
So that's been thousands of years of food as medicine, and how do you divide that when we see if you have too much sugar, I get hyperactive children. I think a lot of parents would agree.
Yeah.
So maybe, but they're not considering regulating sugar and looking at that, even though we've got not only hyperactivity, but the metabolic changes, the effect on the liver, the diabetes, that there's inflammation anywhere in the body. Instead we're trying to regulate things that people take to help themselves, instead of actually regulating the things that people are eating every day that are doing themselves harm. And I'm not in favour of nanny state and taking away people's choices about what they eat. I think that's the job of education more than regulation. But yeah.
Completely. Okay, so where do people go to make their submissions? And it closes on the 15th of February. So do not leave it till the last minute. If wherever you are, if you have a second, go and do it right now, because you will forget, especially if you're a mum with kiddies, go and do it now. Share it far and wide on Facebook. Tell everybody you can. You actually have an opportunity to make a difference here. So get your A into G, go and make a submission. Where do people go?
Yeah. So that's at the Parliament website. But what I would like to suggest is the Homeopathic Society has a guidance document coming out next week. So that will be after the 23rd of...
that's right. So this episode's probably going to go out the 27th. So in 1 week's time, I'd say. Yeah.
Right. So the Homeopathic Society have a guidance document that is out now, which tells not just about the information on what is in the Therapeutic Products Bill, but it tells you how to do that submission. It shows you what it looks like and everything about it. So you can find that on the Homeopathic Society's Facebook page, or you can email coordinator@homeopathy.ac.nz to get a hold of that. And it should be on their website as well, which is homeopathy.ac.nz.
Okay, perfect. Is there any final message that you want to leave our listeners with?
Just it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't sit there going, I can't make a submission because I can't spell, because I don't know how to say this, because I don't know enough. We don't want a lot of copy and paste submissions, because they can then go, well, these are all the same, that's one person. Write it in your own words, even if it's not spelled right and it doesn't make doesn't have all the right things. It's not being marked. We just want you to say what you have concerns about, and that you want to have access to these products. You don't want the costs to go up. You want to be able to choose to see natural health practitioners, and you have concerns about the way this is written. So yeah, there's no marks for anything. Just get your voice in there, whatever you have to say.
But you will get karma brownie points if you do make a submission. And a little angel will get its wings, a little fairy will get its wings, or whatever you need to do to get your A into G, and definitely go and do this. But yeah, you will seriously get some karmic brownie points. Make sure you go and sit down and do the submission. And like Barbara said, don't even think about spelling or anything else. Just get it out there and make a difference, because, you don't want to have this taken away from you and then go, oh, I wish I made a difference. I wish I actually got up and wrote something instead of worrying about, what they'll say about my spelling or anything of that. So definitely get out there, make a submission. So homeopathy.ac.nz would be the place to go and have a look for the guidelines on how to do this. And tell your friends, tell your family, in any mothers groups that you're in, any professional groups that you're in, make some noise and get it out there, because this is the only way that we can actually make a difference if we speak up. Get the information out there.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for having me, Jenny, to talk.
Always lovely to have an excuse to have a chat with you. I prefer this wasn't the excuse. I could think of nicer things for us to have a chat about, but it's always lovely to have a chat with you, Barbara.
Oh, thank you again.